Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. Yes, as I teased in the last review, I am of course reviewing, Red Dragon. Yeah, Yes, so Red Dragon, and, actually, because fun fact, this is the last film where, Sir Anthony Hopkins would be Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Yep, and he stated that. So, and also the thing is, because it is based off of a book, of course. Based on the book, by Tom Harris, and this actually takes place, and it's not technically a prequel, but of course, it does take place in the same world, with the other two Silence of the Lamb films. It takes place before the events of Silence of the Lambs. Actually, because even the movie ends right as, what would happen next. You get my point, and more on that, later. So, I'd have trouble speaking. But anyways, and also there was, there was another movie of this. It was, Manhunter. So I plan on reviewing that down the road. So yeah. So the story: a retired FBI agent with physiological gifts is assigned to help track down the Tooth Fairy. No, not the Tooth Fairy, as we all know. Like just some like crook, that goes by the name Tooth Fairy. It's one of those. A mysterious serial killer, I should have said serial killer, but still, aiding him, his imprisoned, force sense, psychiatrist, I'm having trouble pronouncing that word, I don't know why, Dr. Hannibal, the Cannibal Lecter. Okay, so yeah, as I said, this is the last time that Anthony Hopkins would play Dr. Lecter, and and I watched it for the first time, and this is really good. There was another movie of Hannibal Lecter after this, but it was say on a very young Hannibal Lecter. Everybody says that the best films in that franchise are Silence of the Lambs from 1991, and this Red Dragon, and of course Hannibal from 2001, and the movie about a young Hannibal. Though those two are everybody considers bleh. But I thought Hannibal, if you've seen my review of Hannibal from last year's batch of Halloweenish films that I reviewed, I thought Hannibal was not that bad. So, anyways, it has good casting to it, and the fact that it's really getting intense and trying to catch the serial killer. And Will Graham, who is the retired FBI agent. Did I say? Yeah, FBI agent, just making sure if I got that right. Will Graham being played by Edward Norton, and Jack Crawford, I guess the chief, played by Harvey Kettle, if I'm saying the last name right. He's been in Pulp Fiction and the National Treasure films, yeah. And then, of course, there's Molly Graham, Will's wife, played by Mary Louise Parker. And there's also Josh Graham, played by a young Tyler Patrick Jones. And he was one of those, early 2000s kids that did appear in a bunch of other stuff. I remember seeing him in G-Force, if anybody remembers that film. Then we get the return of, say, Dr. Shilton, if I'm saying that right, played by Anthony Heald, who we saw, in the Silence of the Lambs. Then there's this blonde woman who the serial killer falls for, actually, and that being Reba McClane, played by Emily Watson. And the Tooth Fairy, as he goes by, Francis Dollaride, if I said that right, played by Ralph Fiennes, a.k.a. Voldemort. Yep. So, of course, everybody knows him as Voldemort, can't escape from that. Yeah, and okay, because really, like, just like saying Silence of the Lambs, like, Dr. Lecter is not the main antagonist. I mean, he's there. He's more like a secondary antagonist, whatever. Like a secondary villain. But like, say the real villains are like, like for example, Francis, who goes by the Tooth Fairy. He's the real like villain, the main antagonist, and God, it's very scary what he does, and very gruesome, like, with breaking, like, one thing he's known for, like, breaking mirrors, and, like, even when came across, like, dead bodies and put, like, bits of the mirror in their eyes, oh. And also, the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's in this, he plays Freddie Lowndes, and, yeah, basically, like, Will has a grudge against him, like, Freddie was the one that took those pictures of Will when years back, and when the movie first starts off, Dr. Lecter, he seemed like a normal person, like he had his own like house and whatnot, and Will paying a visit to him, and eventually like Hannibal being exposed, and Hannibal at one point almost killed Will, but then Will got him. Like Will let Dr. Lecter like try to kill him and such. And yet, Will managed to survive, and he managed to, defeat and arrest Dr. Lecter, finally capture him. And, Freddy took pictures of Will when being recovered, and as I said, Will having a grudge against him. Even when, say, that prison cell where Dr. Lecter is, and as we all know, that famous prison cell, and that we would see in the first Silence of the Lamb film, that. Yeah. Will came out, and Freddy and his co-partner were taking pictures of him as he was walking out. Like, dude, give this guy a break. What are you doing? Yeah, and especially an unfortunate demise for Freddy, because at some point Francis does capture Freddy again. Played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, and he's got him in his underwear, and he's like kind of glued to the chair. And we kind of see, like, who Francis is working with, technically. He's basically working for the devil. And even, like, say, on the back of on his back, he's got, like, this tattoo of, like what this, like, devil looks like. You know what I mean? Like, all the way down, just, yeah. And it seems, though, that he might, and also, like, Francis had Freddy, record a proper report or something like that. Then after that, you think that he might let Freddy go, but no, unfortunately, like, God, what he does is he kind of like, what? Like, he bites and he goes inside it, like, he bites, like, what, his teeth out? Okay, yeah, because why am I now realizing this? Hence he's called the Tooth Fairy. Ugh, that's gruesome. And, well, brutal, I should say. Oh my gosh, even when, say, he's got dentures. Ugh, I can't even, oh my gosh. When that scene came up, when we get the introduction of him, and when he's putting on the dentures, oh God, I was thinking of that, and I'm thinking of it again. I'm not joking, just, oh God, get it out of my head. But anyways, and as I was saying, there's a romance that happens between Francis and Reba, and as I said earlier, Reba is blind, so, yeah, and of course she does, like, fall for Francis, and, even, like, say, when, like, there's a bit of, like, VHS tapes that are involved in, like, this case, like, for Will, and even, say, like, Francis watching them as well, and I was like, okay, like this is where Reba, like, is in love with Francis, and she was doing you-know-what, so that's probably my guess, so anyways, and I was kind of asking myself, and yeah, I was right, like, they did it that night, so they had sex, but, and even, like, say, oh yeah, because the next morning after that, like, he's kind of growing concerned, and he's really, he really does love her now, and he just won't do it. He won't let the devil have her, basically, and he was this close to, like, say, shooting himself in the mouth, but of course he couldn't. He's trying to protect her and not let, his master have her. Even, like, say, when he pays a visit to, like, seeing the actual painting, he knocks out two, like, women that work at that place, and he basically, like, rips it up and he eats it. He never, like, killed those women, and even Will was kind of figuring out that, he's trying to stop himself from doing bad things, something like that, Even say when scenes with Dr. Lecter and Will. Now you can tell, because in Silence of the Lambs, the difference is, in Silence of the Lambs, Lecter really was liking Clarice and was protecting Clarice. But in Red Dragon, Lecter really hates Will, and he would want Will dead, So yeah, there's a difference. And I even read this, like, the dialogue, most of the dialogue of that Dr. Lecter says does come from the book. And even just, like, say, with Manhunter. So, yeah, like, then how did you catch me, What disadvantage? Yeah. Pretty good scenes with, everything with Anthony Hopkins as Dr. Lecter. Just fantastic. Even, say, like, in Hannibal, come on, like, surely he was good in that. But anyways, so another thing is that even, like, say, Lecter gave the address to Francis, to Will's house, and Molly and Josh, they are rescued by the FBI, and in case Francis would come in, but he never did, so... And at one point, Francis kind of feels like, I think, like, he felt betrayed or something because he saw somebody right at Reba's house. I think he thought that she betrayed him or something like that, and that probably was not the case. But he flat out shot him in the head, and he put, like, something on her face to knock her out, that kind of thing. And just confronting her and, kind of almost like setting the house on fire. Well, he took her to a different, like, house. And the police, like, the FBI, they're on their tail, like, after Francis. He sets the house on fire, and, he wants to kill her, like, they could be reunited in heaven and such, but he can't do it. And I was kind of thinking that maybe this would have happened, like, this could have happened, even, say, earlier, when he was almost about to do it. He does kill himself. Of course, Reba's okay, the house explodes, I guess because of all that, like, gasoline and, the fire. And near the end of the movie, because it seems that all is well, and, Will and his wife and son are reunited, and, back at the house, and I did not see this coming. Now, at first I thought that, okay, Will starts to realize that something's going on inside the house. He sees the mirrors are shattered, they're broken, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Did Francis do this earlier? Like, this is his doing, but did he do this earlier before he died or something? And then when he enters into his son's room, he's there! He's alive! I couldn't believe that! No, seriously, I was actually surprised to see him alive. And how is that possible? They never explain it. Or at least, I don't know. Maybe the book does, or maybe even, say, Manhunter does. I don't know. Please, no spoilers, okay? If any of you know. But even, like, say, of course, eventually, Francis is finally killed, and especially, thanks to Molly, so... And, of course, Dr. Lecter, because at times, like, I think, Dr. Lecter was writing some letters, and, especially to Will, like, saying goodbye to him or something, and now that, Will is back to retirement, and, he's happy, and all is well for him and his family, and even say they're on a boat, because that's the thing, he's good at repairing boats, so, yeah. And at the very last scene, after we hear the voice of Hannibal as what's written in the letter to Will. Where was it? Yeah, Dr. Shelton, tells Dr. Lecter about this new FBI agent. And of course, he says that it's a she. And, like, Hannibal Lecter is like, and it's great, Anthony Hopkins had the first line of the film, and he has the last line of the film, and I definitely applauded for that, and for this being his last performance as Dr. Lecter, and the last line he gives is, what's her name? And boom, the screen goes black and the credits roll. What a way to end that film, because it's tying directly, of course, to the events of Silence of the Lambs and with Clarice. It's Clarice, obviously. So, obviously, Dr. Shelton tells him that her name is Clarice. So, what a tie-in, definitely. And as I said, Red Dragon was good. It was a really good movie, and I'm pretty sure that there was a couple other characters that were in this. Like, there was Lloyd Bowman, played by Ken Long, if I'm saying that right, and Frankie Fashion, I hope I'm saying that right. He played Barney. I think he was in the first adaptation of the book, which being Manhunter. I'm pretty sure as though he was. I'd say so. Yeah, probably so. But anyways, so some of the other characters, like there was also Lalo Schifrin, he was the conductor. Robert Curtis Brown had an appearance. He was like the dinner guest. Oh yeah, because the dinner guests in the opening to Red Dragon. Robert Rubinstein was one of the dinner guests. Like the dinner guests were, as I said, John Rubinstein, Brenda Strong, Marianne McGarry, and Robert Curtis Brown. And also, Frances Dollarhide's grandmother was, we don't see her, but we do hear the voice. We just hear her voice. Oh, who was it? She probably had an on-credit roll. Yeah, on-credit roll. And the voice of the dragon. Okay, so yeah, the Red Dragon, and like technically the Red Dragon, I guess, being the devil, basically. The Red Dragon being voiced by Frank Langella, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, I've probably seen him before and other stuff. And the Grandma Dollarhide was voiced by Ellen Burstyn. I hope I got that right, yeah. Yep, seen her before, too, in movies and such. All right, but with all that being said, yeah, Red Dragon, what a heck of a movie this was. And for this being Anthony Hopkins' last time as playing the role of Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. And what a bang. He went off with a bang, with this being his last movie. You get my point. I definitely give this a 10 out of 10. It was really good, and yeah, I do recommend it. And if any of you have seen it, you let me know what you thought of it, what you thought of my review, leave comments, and give this review a like as always. So, with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Red Dragon. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And stay tuned, because the next review will be another film celebrating its anniversary. And yeah, technically, this is, a spoiler, because, this is a famous line from this film, 7 days. Stay tuned for that. Take care, and peace out.